Welcome back, Lovestylers. This is Misty, and this is my first podcast officially. So if you hear any mowers, like I hear really loud right now, I may or may not edit them out. We'll see how I do. I like to put out content when I feel guided to, and I hate for it to be perfect. I really do. I don't like perfection very much. It really stumps me up. But today I want to talk about why your haters love you. If you are a hater of mine, which really means you love me because you're listening or watching me, I want to tell you, I don't really like being on camera. Some people say, oh, the camera was meant for you and you look great on camera and you were meant to do this. And I enjoy broadcasting. And Andrew, my husband, who you guys know a little bit about, most of you, if you've been with us for a while, is a broadcast engineer and the best I've ever seen. Not that I've seen a ton, but I've seen their work and he is excellent. So I'm trying to sort of let him take me under his wing with some of this stuff. So it might be rough at first, baby. Very disorganized. I'm going to just say it right now. Whatever comes to my head, whatever my notes say, it could go off. I could go off on a tangent. I may drop an F-bomb or two, and I don't usually talk like that when I'm on camera with my face there. As much as I love doing a channel about carnivore, it's been 5 years since I started Lovestyle. Might be on my 6th year now. And I've talked about keto and carnivore, all the weight we lost. Andrew lost 130 pounds. I've got the pictures to prove it. Check out all of my videos, or some of my videos, or go into the popular videos. People seem to like that little popular button. I have recipes in the playlists, and I've separated things in the playlist, so you can always go there. But let's get to it. The reason why your haters love you, instead of hating you, is because they want to be like you. And people think I'm cocky. I already know from living 53 years that people think I have too much confidence. I can read your mind, people, when you look at me. I can read your goddamn mind. I can see your eyes. I can see the way you walk. I can see the way your mannerisms tend to behave around me. And I got to tell you, I have an intuition that I can't quite explain, but I know what you're thinking. And it's okay. Everybody who's confident, I want to just give you that badge of honor. Be confident. I was listening to some girl the other day. I wish I remembered her name because I really should give credit where credit's due, but I don't remember her name, and that's okay. Her message is great. And she said that she got dumped by a guy because he said she was too confident. And that got me thinking. It got me thinking. Why people come into my life, love me, want me around, want me to make them laugh, ask me how I'm doing. Let's say even in the workplace, if I'm around a lot of people, this happens. Everyone wants to talk to me. Now, what's interesting about this is it's the very thing that's gotten me effed over in different jobs I've had and all the beautiful connections I've made, and even making people feel happier once they walk away from me is not looked at, let's just say in the workplace, as a good thing. Now, any good leader knows it's a great thing. It's a great thing. You are nothing if you do not have your tribe. I mean, people that are wishing the best for you, not wishing you would fail. Please take this in. If you're a hater of mine and you are listening, I've purposely made this an audio podcast, my very first one, to tell you, I know you. I know who you are. I love you anyway. I send you love and light. I hope that one day you will have the confidence to go after your dreams. Now, it wasn't until I gave up drinking alcohol that I even thought I could achieve my dreams on a real, like practical, real life 3D basis. Meaning, I always knew they were there. I've had my dreams since I was a child. I've had dreams since being in the crib. Musical dreams. I played the piano since I was 3 years old. I was always very, very attracted to music. I remember harmonizing in my head in my crib. Now that's very, very personal. I don't even think I told my mom that. They said I was some kind of little genius when I was 3 years old. I could pick up the piano very easily. We had a lot of, or a few at least, musicians in my family who'd come over and strum and play the organ and play the piano. We always had an organ and a piano. There's some people in my family who are very talented, very, very talented on both sides of my family. On my father's side, concert pianists, honky-tonk pianists like you've never seen, talented people. On my mother's side of the family, there was a lot of talent as well. My grandmother was a dancer. She and her first husband were jitterbug dancers. Now they were famous, and they did their touring and their stage work and all of this before TV was even really a thing. So I just hear stories about it, but there's dancing and singing and performing, and it's in my blood. So I knew at a young age that this type of behavior got everybody happy in the household. And I remember going to family functions at the farm, my father's family. A lot of them could sing, a lot of them could harmonize, a lot of them could pick guitar. And we had a lot of sing-alongs. So I picked that up. I said, well, obviously, music makes us happy. So let's keep going. And I think it's been all along, even when I was drinking, my therapy. So music is therapy. Now, I know this podcast is called Why Your Haters Love You. Why your haters might love you is because you know who you are. You're comfortable in your skin. You're confident in who you are, at least for the most part. I think we're all fighting demons inside or trying to get over little things, little idiosyncratic behavior, triggers, PTSD, and all the labels. They want to give everything a trauma. But I am no stranger to trauma. Believe me. I'm not going to get into all of it in this episode. But it has pushed me to just head towards music. Music is, I think it's the only thing in this world, comes very close to prayer and love. But I think music is actually the answer for all of us to get together. It's been proven. Different races, different thought processes, different backgrounds. Music is the only thing we can kind of all agree on. And we don't have to speak about it. We just have to listen and enjoy. So I just wanted to add that. If you are not for somebody, you are against them. So what kind of person you want to be moving forward? You want to be a hater? I got pulled into being a hater a few times in my life. Being a female, we naturally talk about other females. That's what we do. And it's in a terrible light because we are criticizing them, what they wear, their hair, their makeup, their attitude. To me, if you're going to have a crappy attitude, you deserve to be talked about. But when someone's happy all the time and someone doesn't like you and has to make up shit about you because you're happy, oh, she's only happy because of this. Oh, everything comes easy to her. Oh, she looks like this and that's her natural hair color. She was just born lucky. You know what? I was born lucky. And I can feel people clicking off right now. And you're not my tribe. And that's okay. You might even keep listening to find out why, to find out more about yourself. I have found out so much about myself, but I've never been alone until I was laid off just over a year ago. So this is the first time I'm with myself, my thoughts, alone in a home. Now, I don't want you to feel bad for me, but I know who I am, finally. And now that I've given up alcohol and had time to work on my dreams, like starting the YouTube channel and writing different things. I mean, I got notebooks, guys. I probably have 300 ideas for videos that I wrote 3 to 5 years ago. I probably have at least 50 songs that we haven't covered yet. And I also have books and books and books, notebooks full of content. Whether it's going to be a book, I don't know. It could be a video. It could be a song. This right here could end up being a song. My experience of this right now could end up being a song. It comes out of me, and I'm glad. I'm glad it channels. I'm a channeler. It channels through me onto the paper. And the reason I know I'm a channeler or an automatic writer, if you've not heard about automatic writing, I will tell you, it's the intuitives like ourselves that totally understand it. If I can read your mind, I can definitely put a pen to a paper and let it write itself. And that's what it does. And I let it. But the thinking part of being home alone for the first time in my life, in seclusion, in sabbatical, in captivity, has been very healing for me. Now, people say, well, Misty, you're going through a lot. You've been laid off. Another thing that happened to me the same week I got laid off is I found out I had skin cancer, malignant melanoma, hard to say. So that happened at the same time I was laid off. Coincidence? Maybe. And it's okay. It was a little mole. I got it cut out of my stomach area, like a 5-inch scar or something like that. And it wasn't too big of a deal. Now, they say people who have cancer once have more chance to get it again. So I'm being definitely proactive. So far, so good on that. Now, as far as the keto diet and the carnivore diet, which I've talked about for so many years, of course, I've had to go on medication or they wouldn't have done the surgery to remove the cancer. So I'm pissed still about that. I have a lot of guilt because when you're on carnivore and keto, you don't need medication. You get off all your meds. If you do it right, I was so excited, guys. You can see the passion of the last 5 years in all of my videos. It's all true. It's basically living your life on camera. I love talking like this, not on camera. It's something about being looked at and judged for how I look that has gotten my mind a little twisted. Why people love to hate me. But why your haters hate you is exactly the opposite. Or they want to be like you, or they want to have the confidence you have, or they want something they think you possess that they do not possess. So my thing is, let's bring it out of everybody. What are you good at? What are you completely confident about? I bet you if you think back to when you were a child, there is something that you did, and you may still do, I don't know. There's something that you did that was different than anyone else and no one else could do it. Everyone has that thing. When you realize it early, people think you're cocky. People think you're trying to take over. People think you are trying to be the boss. When the truth is, you are already your own boss. You're not afraid of authority sometimes. That's my case. So I'm speaking truly about me right now when I say I'm not afraid of authority, to the point where it's almost scary. Because when I see other people shiver at the thought of going in to ask for a raise, going in to talk to the boss, I get nervous, of course. Or getting up on stage and performing with my band like I did for so many years. They think you have something that was given to you that you did not earn. And maybe you do kind of have something you didn't earn, and God's helping you out. Let him help you out. But also own it and say, I am blessed. So I don't mind saying I am blessed, because I have no problem speaking up in a crowd, being the first one to talk about the things out loud that some others will not even face. So it turns out this is a good time for me to be alive, because podcasting, expressing yourself, social media, and the rest are where it's at. I was born in the perfect time. I don't have to keep this inside anymore. And I love that, because that's better than any therapy can do for me, I suppose. Now, this last year has been so horrible. Being alone was something I never thought I could do. I always had a bunch of people around me. I was always distracted, entertaining people with the piano from the child. If people were fighting, get on the piano, get on the organ, change the mood. And we had a decent household. There wasn't a lot of fighting going on. Just little kid stuff, little bratty stuff. We can always turn to music. So that's one of my vices, I suppose, that helps me a lot. I do want to add right here, though, I did try therapy twice. And you're going to laugh, and it's okay. I tried therapy twice. The first lady, she just didn't have it. She just didn't. Maybe it was me at the time. Maybe I thought my problems were real problems and they weren't real problems yet. And maybe I just needed someone to talk to. I don't know. So the first lady, she was nice. But she was kind of telling me like what I wanted to hear, and it wasn't resonating with me. And I could tell that she was just, ready to get out of there. That's fine. My life's not that interesting, I'm just a working class babe. A little bit fat. A little bit bitter. Very confident anyway. And most things. Not everything. My looks, that's a whole different ball of wax. I'm not completely confident in that at all. And many women over 50 start to think that they've lost their sexiness. And I'm going to try to bring the sexy back for us guys and remind us it's not about how you look. It's about how you seem and how you feel and your aura that you project. How blessed you can make the room feel. Or you can make people feel. Or when you talk to people, they feel cleansed. Or whatever your gift is. The second therapist that I went to, and I mean, I really, really tried with these therapists. She fucking fell asleep on me, guys. I hope I don't have to bleep that out, because I wanted to say the F word there. She fell asleep on me. The woman fell asleep on me. My life is so boring that my therapist fell asleep on me. I won't say it again, because that's too many times. But yeah, I have some feelings still about that. So I've decided this is my therapy. Music and doing my social media adventures. So I am not great at social media. I don't know anyone that can say that they're an expert. I can tell you that I'm looking for jobs and they say social media expert, and they're asking for something that doesn't even exist. No one knows this language. Social media is a language all of its own. I'm the first one, hopefully, to come up with this idea. How can we master something that does not have a particular blueprint? Now, some may want to argue with me and say, well, Misty, it's the algorithm picks up what the people watch and they watch it for this long and fine. It's a mathematical thing then. You cannot coin someone an expert on something you don't understand yourself. None of us understand social media. It's not understandable. It's controlled by something way bigger than us. And although this is social media you're using to listen to me, I think we're all going to start unplugging sooner than later. And I'll tell you why I know that. One, because I have intuition. Two, because I can see patterns. I have pattern recognition to a great degree. I'm a little bit strange, guys. I am definitely not, I don't want to say normal, but I'm not normal. If the number 144 means anything to you, then you get it. So, dealing with the fact that I'm not normal, I'm something else, gives me insights to things that are coming up. Pattern recognition is something I could do as a kid. And I had forgotten that I had this gift. And the reason I forgot I had this gift is because everybody beat it into me emotionally that I am just there to serve them, be their joke, be their house slave, be their love slave, be their wastebasket, or be their inspiration, even though they don't think it's from me. They would just as soon turn their back to me. So, just to give you an example of not being normal, I wrote down some notes. I'm looking at papers in front of me. I've said nothing except for 2 things on these 5 papers that are full. So I write it down, it channels through me, and then I do what I want. I don't know if that's normal. I don't think it sounds that normal. Or someone who would try to put you in a box would say, well, why do you do it that way, Misty? Why can't you do it the way everyone else does it? And this is part of me not being normal. When someone tries to teach me something, I have to learn backwards. And that's the only way I know how to explain it. I know they have ADD, ADHD, PTSD, and all these terms, which some may be true. Or at least some may be closer to the truth. I'll give you an example. In school, I remember being in first grade and already knowing what the teacher was trying to teach me. And this keeps happening. It's a reoccurring event. I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. I am saying I have gifts. I'm not saying I have, what's the word? When you're something, your gifts make the best of. You guys know what I'm talking about. See, if I was smarter than everyone, I'd know that fucking word. Harness. There it is. It comes around, guys. It just comes back around in a loop. So I'm not saying I know how to harness my gifts all that well. I hate perfection. I am constantly judging, criticizing everything I do, everything everyone else does in my own mind. So I hope I don't sound like a hypocrite when I say, if you're not for me, you're against me, or if you gossip, that you're such an awful person. This is human behavior. This is us trying to be perfectionists all the time due to the way we were brought up, or our religion, or the authorities in our lives that have pretty much convinced us we aren't nothing, or have pretty much convinced us we're less than, I should say. Well, this year that I've been alone, I have realized I am something. And I know who I am. And my haters out there, I know who you are. This is not like a threatening, like, I know who you are, like petty. I don't do that. This is, it's okay. It's okay. You can change it anytime you want. You could be someone who spreads love instead of hate. Like starting from this second forward. I know when something's wrong with me emotionally if I'm being negative or gossiping or falling into traps with other people, and they pull you in, guys. They pull you in just to see if they can. I'll make her negative. She's so confident. I'll take that confidence right out of her today. Some people make it their mission to concentrate on other people's happiness. Imagine that. I always feel like I'm the only one on earth who wants the best for everyone on earth. Some might say, well, what about a rapist, Misty? Or what about a criminal? You want what's best for them? Yes, I do want what's best for them. And what's best for them might be going to jail. I don't know. What's best for them might be giving up the booze, and that's the only thing stopping them from making their dreams a reality. It wasn't until I stopped drinking 7 years ago, guys, that I started making all of my dreams a reality. Making steps towards it anyway. I'm not saying I achieved it yet, because it's never achieved until you die and you go to heaven. That's the ultimate reality. That's the ultimate goal for a lot of us, is to live enlightened. And anyone who says they're enlightened doesn't know what the word means, because humans cannot be enlightened. Only spirits can. I'm going to read some of my notes and see if any of this coincides with anything I had to say. And I have the option to cut this into 10 videos if I want. I love it. I love social media as much as I hate it. I hate social media because I'm addicted to it. I love social media because I've learned so much from it. And I hate social media back again because of the truth that I see, that I already knew. That's validated. And I love social media for validating those truths. So let's see where I can go from here. I'm going to take a little pause. One of the things about starting a YouTube channel and being on camera while you express yourself about, let's say for me, the carnivore diet, the keto diet, living a healthy lifestyle over 50, midlife, healthy living, all the things that I talk about for a long time. The reason I talk about it is because it's all true. But I don't particularly like being seen on camera. I would rather be heard. That's why I'm trying this podcast. The reason why I'm trying this podcast thing is because I'm more geared, I think, for voiceover. for talking. I'm great at talking. And I can do the camera thing. I don't always like to be seen. It makes me feel very vulnerable. It's hard to look at yourself. It's hard to hear yourself. But if you've been in a band as long as I have, which is over 25 years or something like that, you start to get used to seeing yourself as almost like you're not seeing yourself, like as a performer. How does this sound? You know, hearing yourself sing is one of the hardest things for people to bear. Or hearing yourself. Remember when you were a kid, you'd hear yourself on a recording? Some of us are old enough to remember hearing ourselves on tape. Some of us used to do straight up comedy routines on tape. Shout out to my cousin Peter, who used to fart on tape. And it was not planned. And one of our funnest times is when we recorded a show making fun of different things that we probably shouldn't have been making fun of, farting on the tape by accident, laughing, the real laugh, not a planned laugh, and having a ball on vacation in Maine. One of my funnest times. So, the voiceover thing. I like it better so far. And this is my first podcast, technically, of my own. I've done a few other podcast things, guys. I'm a beginner. But it is my dream, and it's one of my dreams to kind of like have a radio show. Because let's be real. This is a radio. Not to steal Gary V's, if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, not to steal his material. I'm giving him credit here. He's the one who made me realize, he said, the TV is the radio and YouTube is the new TV or something like that. I'm going to screw up the quote. But what Gary Vaynerchuk made me realize is basically podcasting is radio again. Is a very good reason why. Because we are all on our phones now, at work, in the bathroom. If I could take a picture of everybody in their stall in the bathroom, in a public place, in the workplace, like a factory setting maybe, guarantee you everyone's on their phone, texting, posting, watching things, laughing, getting a moment while their boss is not watching them watch their phone. We are all on the thing constant or damn near constant. And so it's radio time again. It's back to the old days of whatever is being said between your ears is going to have more impact, I feel like, than things that you see. This is my prediction. And argue with me if you want in the comments. I love a good argument. I've only gotten a couple people, speaking of haters, who have messed with me in the comments for having a YouTube channel about diet for going on 6 years. I've only had like 2 or 3 people like try to mess with me. So I'm knocking on wood in my dining room here that we've changed into a podcast studio and an editing suite because we don't have guests over for dinner. We don't have friends. We've tried to have friends. It never panned out. They're not for us. They're not our tribe. So now, besides changing my, what I think is a cutely designed dining room, we tried it. Didn't take. I have a spare bedroom in this home. We took the bed that was just sitting there that no one visited us and slept in and put it in the closet. And we decided to make an exercise studio, a dojo, a meditation room. We got the crystals and the hippy dippy stuff. We are into that in this household. I'm going to read some of my notes and see if I got something else I want to talk about. Because this podcast is not what I plan to talk about. That's what I'm saying, guys. This is abstract art. All of it. Every conversation you have is a piece of art. Every interaction you might have with another person, another soul to soul, especially if you have good intentions, can be a very uplifting experience. That's why I've always loved talking with different kinds of people. It's gotten me nothing but hate being a popular person to talk to. Unless it's making money for the company. Then it's just keep going, Misty. Keep making me rich so I can take an Alaskan cruise. Through the life events I've had this year, I've learned a lot. There was a perfect storm of events that occurred in a very short period of time. I got laid off. I got deadly cancer, malignant melanoma. It's been removed. I don't think there's any more in me. And I lost my youngest brother, who's 8 years younger than me, who was like my little best friend when we were kids. I mean, I was like his little mother. Of course, my mother was his mother, but I was his older sister, and I helped my mother out, and I helped take care of him quite a bit. And I just stopped crying after a month and 2 weeks, where we are now from when he passed away. I love you forever, Davis. I love you forever, little brother. This is the first day that I didn't cry after I said anything about him. When people talk about doing inner work, breath work, meditation, therapy, it all works for whom it works for different times in your life. Coming full circle, I'll probably cut this part out because the haters, I would like to get an audience eventually. So I have to temper my bluntness. Now, someone else might say, Misty, your bluntness is the best part about you. You get everything done and you just tell people where it is and then they don't mess with you anymore. Yeah, it's worked for me many times, but it's also done the opposite. So I have to find some moderation in it. And I hate the word moderation. I just freaking hate it. So I already know that I'm extreme. Or I wouldn't hate the word moderation. Check out my moderation video. It's not getting a lot of plays. It's the last video I did on camera. A lot's happened since then. I plan to return to the camera, but less often, potentially. If this podcast thing might be more my speed. But let's just say you see a very beautiful person. We all know someone who's just born beautiful or a striking or different looking person, and their gifts, we'll call them. What's the big deal? Do you think that means they don't have doubts? Do you think that means everything comes to them easily? Do you think that means they didn't work for what they have achieved? Do you think that means they haven't been sick, cut into, had diseases, had mental problems, been on medications, been abused? It doesn't matter what they look like. They've probably been through worse shit than you. And you're ugly. It's not too late to be beautiful. And I'm talking about from the inside. And everyone knows that other person who is not good looking. If you just looked at them from, in public or something. But when you meet them, they are different. They move different. They exude charisma. They might not be the best looking thing you've ever set your eyes on, but they feel wonderful. and you love to bask in their aura. You love to swim in their waters. And there's something in you, no matter what you look like, that you have that nobody else has. There is something that you have that nobody else could possibly in any lifetime have. That is special. That is special. Say it. I can fill in the blank like nobody else because I am me and no one's going to do it like me. I'm telling you to say that to yourself, but I'm also saying it to myself. One of the most interesting things about me, Andrew said, you got to talk about you. You can't talk at people. You have to talk about you and your experiences. So here I am. If I was to meet me for the first time and someone asked me, what's the most interesting thing about you? Now, a lot of people who aren't self-aware would say, I don't know. I can fix cars. Okay. I didn't ask what you do. I'm asking, what is the most interesting thing about you? Actually, tell me in the comments. What is the most interesting thing about you? So the most interesting thing about me to the general public might be that I'm in a band. And I am a musician who actually records albums. We're always recording an album. Andrew and I are always recording an album. Check out Black Eyed Soul on any streaming platform. And also blackeyedsoul.com. If you want to just go there to our website and everything's there. All the albums, all the links. You can check us out. We're very humble. We don't have to have our face on every album. We do a lot of artistic album covers and things like that. Andrew and I are probably too humble. But we're decent musicians and we're good songwriters, especially him. I just started writing songs in the last couple years. Looking from the outside, as I've been in a band with my husband since I met him, since the day I met him, which was a fated event. A completely fated event. I'm not going to go into it right now, but I obviously got the job, and I obviously got the job unpaid for 24 years or whatever it is. Ha ha ha. We keep 9-to-5 jobs all this time we've been in a band because music is one of the hardest businesses to wrap your head around that isn't also corrupt. So I see that it's changing, and I feel like it's going back to the 90s, and I saw this coming. I mean, how could you not see it coming? You go to any mall store and any t-shirts they're selling, it's all 90s, 80s, 90s bands. Nirvana. These little kids didn't listen to Nirvana. They're just discovering them now. That's fine. They don't really get it because they weren't there when it happened. When we were coming up was exactly when Nirvana was coming up. So we were right on the grunge edge, Andrew and me, and our bands. We've had several members come and go, lots of different collaborations, both good and bad. Music is a good time. I'm not going to lie. But I associated music with partying. And I thought I had to be drinking because we're having a party, right? We're playing music. This is a happy party. This is what made my family happy in the household. We played music. We sang at gatherings. It's party time. I associate music with party. That might be an excuse. If you're a therapist, let me know. It's probably an excuse to drink. It wasn't until I stopped drinking that I made my dreams come true. It wasn't until I stopped drinking that I started to try, am still trying, all new things that I would never attempt because I would just be drunk. I actually spent time sipping instead of creating, sipping a beer or six instead of creating content. This is art. And music itself is art. I'm an artist. I have no business being in a bottle of wine. And it might even be that alcohol is particularly put on this earth to keep us artists away from producing content, or us creators of things that help other people, to numb us out. And it was a cool time to grow up, let me tell you, in the 90s. In the 80s was better. The 80s. Dude, if you want to fight me on this, go ahead in the comments. The 80s ruled. The 80s ruled and the 90s were cool. That's the best way I can explain it. The 80s was invention, almost like now, like starting over. All these new things were coming out. Everything was bright. Everything was new. Everything was allowed. Nothing was kind of off the table in the 80s. Can you believe it? We had usually one person working in the household, usually the male. Some of us had the moms that would do the part-time stuff or help out the dad if there was a business. And she took care of the kids and cooked in a normal household. And you ate dinner together. So that already doesn't match the freedom and the inventiveness of the 80s. To me, it was like traditional values in the home, still from the 50s, which is fine in a lot of cases. And I like a lot of that. And also being able to be artistically free. So the 80s for me was wonderful. The 90s were cool. So the 90s were a little bit like snooty cool. Like if you grew up in the 90s and you were in a band, you can't smile in no band picture. I have a band picture somewhere up on my one of my social medias. Check out all my stuff, guys. Misty Lovestyle. Of Andrew and I in a black and white. We look like two movie stars. Andrew is sexier than John Bon Jovi in this picture, this particular picture. And he was in real life too. I was lucky enough to get him. God bless me with Andrew. That's how I know God exists. And this isn't a brag fest. And again, my haters, just swallow it or get the fuck off. Or get yourself a real man. Or know who you are and own it. And you be the star. You be the Bon Jovi. You be the John Bon Jovi. You be the Andrew Marcus. You be the Misty Marcus. But you be you. The way we are us. The best we can. It's not always perfect. And these people with the social media, man, trying to get it perfect and all that, it's going back to authenticity. And the 90s, if they were anything, it was authentic. In the 90s, you didn't smile in band pictures. You were tough. You didn't want to look pretty. You wanted to look cool. There's a big difference. You didn't want to look flashy. That came after. That came when the EDM and the glow sticks and my brothers. That was my brother's time. He's 8 years younger than me. And that was fine too. That was its own movement and kind of a nice community-based system, I would say. But so was being in a band in the 90s. It was its own community. And it was a community of artists where it was back to basics. It wasn't virtuoso anymore, Eddie Van Halen. It was Kurt Cobain, who could barely, hit the note, who played a lefty guitar, who wore an ugly sweater and had greasy hair. He didn't start the 90s. He made the 90s by being himself in front of everyone. Kurt Cobain's secret may have been that he was himself in front of the world. Now, I hate how it all went down. And I hate that he was tortured mentally. But I have to say, I have written more songs out of sorrow than I ever have out of happiness. So there's always that. It makes for great art somehow. And it's a channeling. That's also therapy, is what I'm going to call it. So I was a 90s rock and roll chick who could play keyboards. I got in Andrew's band. I was good enough to stand up there with the guys, perform, do shows, do little tours. We didn't get huge, guys. We dominated our area. We were talked about quite a bit in a good light. We have many reviews written on us and articles and newspaper features and a tiny bit of fame. It is nice. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I did something, at least. If I never do anything again and this all sucks, I did that at least in the 90s when it was a cool time to kind of experience how it felt. I can't explain the 90s. I can just tell you how it felt. Now, there were some downers to it. It felt oppressed or depressed. It kind of felt like the kids against the adults. It kind of felt like we were fighting against something that we didn't know we were fighting for. I don't know where that came from. That just came out of my mouth, but it kind of makes sense to me. That's where the whole kind of like being depressed was like almost like cool to have mental problems in the 90s. And that is still going on today. I don't approve of it really because I was happy in the 90s. I wanted to smile at the photo shoots. But they say, no, you're in a band, you're in a cool band, you can't smile. You can't smile. And Andrew taught me that. And he's right. Look at every band picture you've ever seen. I don't see anyone smiling a lot, especially during the 90s. But we were cool. We were alt country, we've been called, power pop, rock and roll, alternative rock. This is when all the genres started happening. People were making up their own genres. And that's still happening in my home because I have a genre that I'm not going to let out just yet. And our own brand of exploration and expression was through being in a band and writing songs and playing them. And I was pleased to be part of the group. But I got to tell you something, especially ladies, if you're listening, ladies. I was the only girl almost ever in any of these bands. So it was me and a bunch of dudes all the time. Now, I'm a tomboy. I've always had guy friends. I've always, played ball, basketball with my guy friends, different sports. Liked talking with them. I like women, of course, but they don't maybe like me. And that's been hard to face. Your haters really love you because they want to be like you. But they don't know how because they think God gave it to you. And that you didn't earn it. And I can tell you from experience, even though some gifts are given by God, looks and things like that. Some babies are just born cute and some babies are just born ugly. And you grow into your looks and you change and you have different times in your life when you're cute, you're ugly, you're fat, you're skinny. I'm talking about the inside of you now. It's beautiful. And if it's not, it can be. And I don't want to lose my inner beauty by having a terrible year or a terrible time or a terrible group of years, because that will just prevent me from trying to get to my goal, which is to communicate further into some of these beautiful topics, manifestation, going after your dreams, heading towards your goals, doing something every day a little bit better than the day before that you didn't do or know. Yesterday, I'll give you an example. I wasn't feeling great, but I was feeling guilty about not pursuing something I didn't learn the day before. So I said yesterday, I'm going to do something, move this energy and see what happens, and learn something today that I didn't know the day before. One tiny thing. It could be the way you fold a blanket. That is still progress. That is still progress. I swear to God, it's progress. It could be drinking an extra water and seeing if you feel better for the next 24 hours following. I'm talking micro actions. That's my big thing, micro actions. Because I do not believe in cold turkey, just, all of a sudden one day you're just going to go from 0 to 10. No. You got to take all the little steps. I don't like talking about the steps. However, I do like saying, what can I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? Whether it's how to fold a blanket better, how much bleach to use in a wash of clothes. It's making me sound like a sad housewife, which I am partially right now, but I'm always happy. Just remember, I'm always happy. Even if I'm sad, I'm always happy. Like underneath. Like no one can take away how happy, go lucky I am in my heart. And it's been trampled on, run over. Not by Andrew, not by my husband, thank God. That's how I know God is with me. I'm knocking on wood. But by people. By people of all types, and I'm not going to get into that. Many, many, many people who have judged me by the way I look, not by my actions. Sometimes women in particular, and even men who are, let's just say, great looking. They were born great looking. They're always going to be great looking. Oh, it's so easy for them. Oh yeah, they're so conceited. They're just because, they're so full of themselves. I'm not going to say it doesn't put a boost in your step when you look in the mirror and you like what you see. But when I look in the mirror, I never like what I see. And if you're like me, you got to work on it. I actually did this thing to the mirror, and I even made my cousin try it. I don't know if she tried it yet. I have to call her and find out. And guys, if you want to try something really freaky, since I'm a chick from the 90s, I'm a little freaky. Stare at yourself in the mirror. I mean, put your nose to the mirror in the bathroom or whatever. Like a big mirror, not like a little handheld. Put your nose to the mirror. Stare into your own eyes, which you can only do one eye at a time. I found out, of course. Hello, Captain Obvious. Do it anyway. Put your nose to the mirror and stare at yourself for like a minute. It's really hard. I know this is freaky. Stare at yourself for an entire minute. Say, I love you. Say, I love you. I love you. If you have to talk to your body parts that you don't like. Like for me, I have a gut. My minnow belly. So I'm okay. My face, I got wrinkles. I don't use Botox, so I can see my damn wrinkles. And my face, as soon as I look in the mirror, normally, I look right at my gut. And I go, oh, that freaking gut. So you're supposed to love every part of you. So I'm starting to say, I love you. And rub my belly. And I challenge you to put your nose to the bathroom mirror. A regular big mirror. Not a handheld. And put your nose right up to that mirror and stare at yourself for a straight minute. And try to have some good thoughts. Or say them out loud. I love you. I love you. I love every part of you. I love every inch of you. I love every thought you have. Hopefully the good ones, even more so. And I will never let you down. You'd be saying this to yourself. And then maybe, just maybe, You'll start to be happy for other people. I know that people are happy for other people, and I can prove it. I can prove it. You know how I know? Because we root for the sports teams together. I mean, when there's a stadium, and I'm not even into all that, guys. I like playing sports. I don't like watching them. Lately, Andrew and I are playing Frisbee. And I'm getting really into that. And this might, for all I know, end up being a Frisbee podcast. I'm just doing what I do. I have intuition. I see in the future. I just know stuff. I know stuff. And I'm not going to be embarrassed anymore to talk about the fact that I was born knowing stuff, just like you. You know what you know. And you know what you don't know. And you may not be aware of how you act. I'm just going to throw that out there. But this work is hard work. But it's worth it. Because I don't intend on wasting my life. I'm 53. What do I have? 15 more years of active, being out there hiking and stuff. I'm doing stuff I've never, ever been into. I used to be into drinking with people who like to drink and wasting my life. Although I was in a cool rock band that you're always allowed to drink when you're in a rock band. I think I might have just figured out one of my little therapy secrets here. Maybe I was in a band because I could drink and it was allowed. It's like one of the only jobs where while you're getting paid to play, you can drink on the job. Now, who wouldn't like that? I have a theory about people in bands and musicians like myself and my husband. If you're in a band, you're just a little kid who never wanted to grow up. It's okay. Why should we grow up? They say when you're born, you're completely spiritual, and then everybody beats it into you who you are after that. So let's be more like kids and play music or play at something, whatever your something is, with painting, cooking, social media, posting, making videos, editing videos, drawing, writing books, all the things I'm trying to do all at once. Except the drawing. I do not draw well. Make the healthy habit your new habit. That is not my material. I'm pretty sure it's Joe Dispenza. By making the healthy habit your new habit, you can get out of the old shitty habits. If I make writing a song my new habit instead of drinking a bottle of wine, that's better. Because I have goals. And my goals do not include in the future being dead. And my goals in the future do not include being like such a bad alcoholic I ruin everyone's life. Or I'm on the streets or something like that. So I had to give it up because I couldn't have one drink, guys. I could not have one glass of wine like regular people do at the wedding. I don't like to use the word alcoholic. Everyone's having a glass of wine or a drink at a wedding, like at New Year's Eve, the special events. And they have a drink or 3 or 5 or whatever for that night. And then they don't drink till the next holiday, till Christmas. Then they have another 1 or 3 drinks. That is not what an alcoholic goes through. We go through, and I'm saying we because I wouldn't be talking about this if I didn't have personal experience. There is no way I can have one drink. I've never been able to have one drink since I was a very young person. I'm not going to go into what age, but teenagehood. I couldn't have one drink then. I can't have one drink now, so I can't have any drinks. If I can't have 6, I don't want any. And that's where I'm very extreme. And that's where moderation doesn't have a place in my life. Now, with other things, of course, like eating, obviously, I have moderation because I do 90% carnivore, not 100%. There's some moderation involved in that. And my diet has changed a little bit in this last year because of the surgery, the death, the medications I was forced to take, and being laid off. I did not think of picking up a drink. It's just not an option for me. It's not an option. That doesn't mean you can't. If you're one of those people who can go to an event, have a couple drinks, and it's an event and a party, and then you don't have to drink all week, then you're probably not an alcoholic. If you save drinking for those special occasions, you're normal. That's what it's for. But if you're like me, and it's a thing where you don't remember what happened the night before, and that's happened to me enough times for me to stop, then you got a damn problem. And if you want to talk to me about it, for all I know, this might end up being a quit drinking podcast. I don't want to label what I am. I'm abstract. This is abstract art, so I don't want to label what this show is going to be about. I'm not going to promise things, hopefully, that I can't deliver. Andrew and I are both going to talk on this podcast, and I hope you keep tuned in because he will give the men's perspective, and he's a very practical guy, very artistic, very, very talented, very intelligent. I'm very much kind of not practical, generally. I have a practical side, but if you stay tuned in, we plan on talking about a lot of different topics on this podcast, which is unnamed right now. So I went on 10 different tangents. I'm going to edit some of it. I may let it be messy as hell. Andrew would never approve. And that's why I might do it anyway. Because I like to mess around a little bit and be abstract when it comes to living, when it comes to creating, when it comes to mixing it up. I kind of get bored doing the same thing over and over. And if you're anything like me, if your life feels like Groundhog Day with just something different, some different meat you're eating that day, you're eating chicken today instead of beef yesterday, but the whole day is almost exactly the same. I mean, generally, it can't be exactly the same, but you know what I mean. Then you might want to start getting into new stuff. You might want to listen in. I still don't see a lot of women in the music industry, even now. I still think there's a lot more men, which is fine. I am no feminist, guys. Believe me. I love men. And they're uncomplicated. Ladies, if you're over 50, this is a side note. Men are uncomplicated. You keep them properly, properly fed. You might have to give them a little too many compliments that feel uncomfortable for you, but you got to keep giving them inspiration and let them know they're a good man. This is something I've learned. It's taken me a long time to get here, guys. Keep your man. If you got a good man, keep your fucking man. All these women out here, all these single women, they're just untethered. They're turning to all kinds of strange behavior that I don't approve of at all. Grab an instrument, chicks. Learn how to play guitar. Start a girl band. I'll manage you. I've always wanted to manage an all-girl band. I'm about at the age and about at the experience where I probably would do very well if I took one on, actually. I probably do better managing someone else's band than my own. And that you can quote me on. Being one of the only female musicians in the 90s was both a surprise and not a surprise to me. Anyone who had a girl in their band, besides us, because we were one that did, and we drew a crowd. But for the up-and-coming bands who would add women to the roster and kind of let them play an instrument, or if they earned their keep and they played it well. Either way, if there was a girl in the band, it was like going to the zoo for the men. Oh, there's a chick in this band. Let's go see this band tonight. There's a chick in the band. Because they're looking at you going, she can't play an instrument. She's got to be the singer. And by the way, male groupies exist. I mean, I was in my 20s, early 30s, and throughout, when we were playing out a lot, I always hung around with guys, so I would just treat them like a friend. But there are male groupies that try to let me get your autograph, and oh, you're so good. And you can tell the real ones from the fake ones. But mostly if a guy talked to you and you were in the band, he was a male groupie or trying to steal you for his band, which never happened. I'm too loyal to our music. So check out Black Eyed Soul again, blackeyedsoul.com. I barely even talk about it. We got 6 albums digitally released. In the last 12 years, 13 years, we've made 4 albums. So we make an album every election year, seems. We got 2016, 2020, 2024. And actually, we already created another album that's going to end up being released this year. So we've broken the 4-year pattern. So that's cool. But back to being in a band in the 90s and being one of the only females. It was a fun time and everything. You get a lot of attention. I didn't really like playing live all that much, to be honest. Just like I don't really like being on camera all that much. It's funny because people think I'm a show off because I'm confident when I am on camera or in front of an audience playing. I'm not a show off. I hate show offs. And maybe when I was a kid, because I had a show off for the family, and always, play this, play that on the piano, organ. I always, maybe I have a thing about it. Like I feel like I'm showing off because my family would kind of make me show off, which was fine. It made them happy, my cousins and stuff, and I'd teach them how to play stuff. That was all good and fun. But some of us Gen Xers over 50, we can come across like know-it-alls. And ladies, if you're triggered by that, that means you might be one. Take it from one to another. We don't know all, but we know a fucking lot. And we can't let anybody else know that we know. I hope there is room for us still in the workplaces, on the stages, on the podcasts. Things are opening up. And believe me, I am right in the middle when it comes to feminism. I love men. But I like to hang out with them a little bit more than I like to hang out with women, I'll be honest. I haven't had a lot of girlfriends. I haven't had a ton of women who have stuck with me. They like to be around me. They like to be seen with me, but they don't stick with me as friends. And this is a little bit of an expression here. And that's okay. Men are a lot simpler. They like to be well-fed. They like women to be clear when they speak. They don't like a lot of craziness or theatrics, and they like their bedroom time, if you know what I mean. And not much else. They just want to get along. They just want peace. And now that I'm older, I remember thinking back when my dad got home from work, we were to give him peace. And my mother would say, give your father his peace. Let him watch his, Gunsmoke or whatever. Let him sit down. Let him drink his beer or whatever he did. He didn't drink a lot, but give him a moment, kids, before you want his attention. And some of us ladies never got daddy's attention. Some of us ladies, that's our problem. Some women didn't even have their dad home or their mom. So I had both, and I'm just eating a breakfast. I'm just trying to say I had a traditional upbringing. In the 90s, I was non-traditional because I was a chick in a band, and I was a killer as a salesman and running someone else's business to make them rich. I was 5-star, professional, natural, just like my mom. Sell snow to an Eskimo, they say. But it was all true. It was all from my heart. If I was trying to, let's just say, sell to somebody, I would just not sell to them. I would just tell them all the good things about it and let them decide. I hate pushy salespeople. I hate sales pushed on me. I can read your mind. Don't try to sell me something because I won't buy it just because you're trying. So some of us have some gifts that we shouldn't be ashamed of. And it starts now. Don't be ashamed of it. Do not be ashamed of it. And us Gen Xers, us older ladies, we are really looking sweet right now. You know why? Because we know stuff. We know things. I hope you enjoyed this first podcast. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if I have to edit out all the bad parts. I hope you enjoyed today's talk or podcast, Misty's Diary. And until next time, I would say, keep it poppin', keep it pushing, and peace out.